So you've been thinking about it for several months, maybe even a couple years. You've been thinking about moving. Like, should we move? Is it the right time? It's never the right time. But you have decided it's time to make a move now. Awesome.
Welcome to my house, baby, take control now.
In your move, you decide, hey, we're going to be in Ohio, and more specifically, Northeast Ohio. But you know what? Northeast Ohio is a pretty wide area, but it doesn't really matter, right? Whether you go to Cleveland or Youngstown or Akron or Canton, at the end of the day, they're all relatively close. Well, you know what? You would be shocked at how much of a difference there is. So today, we're going to focus mainly on Cleveland and Akron. They each have their bonuses to them, their plus sides, their pros, and then they each have their cons to them. And I'm going to kind of compare them side by side so you can understand what makes sense for you, what areas you want to live in. It depends on your lifestyle, it depends on your pace of life, what you want to do, and essentially where you want to work too, and what kind of job you want to have. But I'm going to show you the difference between both of them, and I'm going to let you make the decision which makes more sense for you. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Justin Robleski with High Point Real Estate Group. If this is your first time to my channel, please click on the subscribe button to be notified every time a new video comes up. My big focus is to have one video out per week, and per other videos you've seen of mine hopefully. You'll notice I'm starting to put a big emphasis on getting out 2 videos per week. In addition to the subscribe button, make sure you click on the little bell icon to be notified every time a new video comes out so you don't forget. Come back, be educated, learn everything you want to know about Ohio, more specifically Northeast Ohio. If you're ever looking to contact me, whether by calling, text messaging me, emailing me, or even a carrier pigeon, whatever works for you, I am good with. Don't hesitate to reach out anytime if you have any questions about anything at all, whether you're looking at buying, selling, investing, or you just want to know something about Ohio that you didn't know before. I will be happy to answer all your questions for you. Submit a comment. I'm very responsive to them. Most comments I respond back to in under an hour. Depends if I'm with the client or not. But you'll find looking at previous comments, I'm very responsive to everybody. So I'll be there to help you any way I can. But like I mentioned in this video, we're going to talk about the difference between the Cleveland area and the Akron area. Now I'm going to tell you, both of them have their pros to them and both of them have their cons. No doubt about it. But you're going to notice big differences to them. Essentially, they'll have some similarities, but you're going to notice it's a whole different community and depending on which way you go. So I'm going to educate you a little bit. You can figure out what works for you, and at the end of the day, you can make your decision and then call me if there's anything else you need. Up first, if we're talking about population, Cleveland destroys Akron in population. Cleveland's a little bit bigger area, which makes sense compared to Akron, but not just the size-wise in the square miles. Cleveland per square mile has way more people than what Akron does. Now, that's not a good or a bad thing. That's just a preference thing. So if you're all about being really downtown in the hustle and bustle and being like shoulder to shoulder on the streets, well, with COVID, it's not that anymore. Well, who knows? We'll see.
Whatever.
Want to be like shoulder to shoulder. You just want to feel that hustle and bustle, the busyness, the craziness. Cleveland's going to be a better way to go. Now, I know a lot of people that live in Cleveland and really do like it down there as part of the business district. Actually, Cleveland would be up there, not down there. But a lot of people like the Cleveland area because of the business district, and they like the activity, they like the buzz and the feeling of just the whole business world going on. But they live in Akron because they want to kind of avoid the chaos a little bit. So when you're down in the Akron area, you're going to have less people per square mile, so you're not going to have that chaos. Now, there are periods and at times that you're going to have some busyness in Akron, no doubt about it. But you're going to have much more larger corporations up in Cleveland compared to Akron. You're just going to have a lot more people living in Cleveland because you essentially have like the inner city in Cleveland as well. Although you have the inner city Akron area, Cleveland is very, very, I don't know if condensed is the word. I would almost say like congested. So you almost get that feeling sometimes that I feel like there's too many people there essentially, but some people like that. So that's up to you. So if you're looking for a really condensed population, lots and lots of people, Cleveland is the way to go. If you want to be a little bit more low key, Akron is going to be your better avenue. So the second thing I'd like to talk about is the traffic. So the traffic is important because it's relevant to us commuting to our jobs, commuting to leisure, to kids' sports, to whatever event you want to go to. In Cleveland, you will find out there's a lot more traffic than there is Akron, and that's pretty much based on the fact that there's more people, so it makes common sense. Well, I will tell you a little trick here, though. Not necessarily a trick, but a lot of people don't realize it, is it's not necessarily the traffic that's so bad in Cleveland or the traffic that's bad in Akron, because they both have their moments. What it actually is a lot of people during the nighttime, after getting off their 9-to-5 job, 9-to-6 job or whatever, commuting from Cleveland back to the Akron area gets really congested, and it's in reverse in the morning. So people leaving the Akron area, going to Cleveland to work, gets very, very congested in the morning. If you can beat traffic half hour later, half hour before the main rush hour periods, you'll be perfectly fine. You'll never even notice it. So no big deal there. Now, also in regards to traffic, both cities actually have quite a bit of transportation, public transportation that you can take, such as the buses, for example. Obviously, there's always taxis and Ubers, but you get what I'm saying. Cleveland has a much more robust travel system, so there's a lot more buses available, a lot more public transportation you can get on, and you'll find out if you need to go from place to place in Cleveland, it might not be advantageous for you to actually drive a car into the city and stay there, especially if you live in the city of Cleveland in those areas. If you live in Akron, obviously you're not going to take public transportation 45 minutes to an hour to Cleveland. So there's a difference there. So the public transportation is a big factor at all. Akron has quite a bit of it, but Cleveland just has a whole lot more when it comes to it. So the next one is the weather is a big difference there between the two of them. So we both get in Akron and Cleveland, we get similar weather for the most part. If it snows in one, it's probably going to snow in the other. If it's sunny in one, it's going to be sunny in the other. So you get the whole picture there. But here's the big difference. As in Cleveland, you're going to be a little bit cooler during the summer. And the reason why is because you're pretty much right off the lake. They're off of Lake Erie. So you're going to have kind of like that breeze coming from the waterway. Now, that's great for Cleveland. And, Akron could be a little bit hotter sometimes. But in reverse, during the winter, it's just the same. Well, not just the same. It's actually like an opposite effect, per se. So in Akron, you're going to be about the same temperature as Cleveland. We might be a tad bit warmer during the winter. But in Cleveland, when a snowstorm comes, you have that lake effect snow that comes right off the lake. And if Akron gets 6 inches of snow, you might get 12 inches of snow in Cleveland. Now, that's not all the time, but that happens a lot more frequently than you think. So if you're someone that is not necessarily like that snow bunny that that enjoys the snow, is okay with the roadways being complete crap, you might want to stay away from Cleveland a little bit, because you'll deal with that a little bit more chaos during the winter. Even though the winter only lasts a few months here, but that's just kind of something you can figure out and see what you want to do. Akron, don't get me wrong though, Akron does get the snowstorms. They do get ice storms periodically, but it's just not to the level that Cleveland gets them. So that kind of sums that up. The next thing is when it comes to jobs. Now, I did a previous video about jobs in Akron, Ohio, and I'll actually eventually do one for Cleveland. But for the Cleveland area, you're going to have many more companies in that area because you're kind of on the water hub. But it depends on what companies you're trying to work for. So if you're in like a manufacturing business or a shipping business, things like that, Cleveland has a lot more access to the waterways and they do more hiring in that area. Compared to Akron, there's some more technology, more with schooling institutions, things like that in Akron. But they both have many job opportunities. Cleveland just has more of them because they have a little bit more industry up there than what you would in the Akron area. Now, both of them have companies that are hiring, make great pay.
Show me the money!
So there's no wrong decision either way, it's just a preference. A lot of people tend not to, from experience, people tend not to live in Cleveland and drive to Akron because if they're in Akron, they would just kind of rather live in the Akron area. Now, keep in mind, when I say Akron, that doesn't mean necessarily in the city, but obviously the suburbs, same for Cleveland. But you will see a lot of people that want to be a little bit more calm that do live in Akron that then drive to Cleveland because, you know, their job actually warrants it or whatnot for the most part. But that gives you an idea. There's a little bit more job opportunities in Cleveland, but by all means, there are plenty of job opportunities in Akron. If you are a sports fan, okay, most people who don't live in the area have not heard of any Akron sports teams because there's really no national Akron sport teams that are well known throughout the country. But if you like going to like a Cleveland Indians game, a Cleveland Browns game, Cleveland Cavaliers game, some of the teams suck sometimes, some of the teams are okay. You know, notoriously haven't had great sport teams, but we've had our moments. But Cleveland is going to have where all that hustle and bustle is. You're going to have all the stadiums there, the venues to actually go see that stuff. You're going to have a lot more access to fun stuff essentially in Cleveland. And I don't want to say fun is a bad thing for Akron because there is fun stuff to do in Akron, but Cleveland is much more built up for that stuff. There's a lot more venues to go to. So especially if you like going out to clubs and bars and things like that, obviously it depends on what your age bracket is. Cleveland has more to offer because of that larger city scene. So you got your sports, you got your bars. Cleveland has a lot more restaurants you can go to. There are some fantastic restaurants in Akron. So please don't misunderstand, but there's a lot of them to go to in Akron. And if you want to know about any, feel free to pop a note in the comments, and I'll list a whole bunch of them that you can go to. But there are great options to both of them overall. So if you're catching on to the theme here, essentially, because there's more people in Cleveland, there's more buildings, more businesses, things like that, and they obviously offer a little bit more. But you could easily live in Akron, work in Akron, never go to Cleveland, and be perfectly fine. There is tons of stuff to do. There are many events you can go to, many venues to go to, tons of food. There is no shortage of anything in Akron. I'm just trying to give you that big scale, the difference between the two of them overall. Now, if you're talking about income-wise, so this is where you start getting into disparity. In general, there is higher income levels and higher income neighborhoods in Akron than there is Cleveland. Now, they both have some multi-million-dollar neighborhoods, so that's going to be the case no matter what city you're living in, and they both have neighborhoods that are just really run down, and you don't want to see that in any city, but let's be honest, it's reality. But what you will find out is the average household makes less in Cleveland than they do Akron, and you'll find that housing is cheaper in Cleveland than it is Akron a lot of times, and it depends on what suburbs you're in, of course. But you also have to do your research, and this is not my opinion. This is just what statistics say on independent websites. There's a lot more crime in Cleveland as well. So if, like I said, a lot of people will live in the Akron areas in the suburbs and drive to Cleveland, but they don't necessarily want to live in Cleveland. And again, this is not my opinion. This is just statistical facts that have been posted on different websites. So I just want to fill you in on that. With this all said, hopefully that gave you a brief overview of the differences. I know it was just touching the surface, and there's so much more to go into. And if you guys have any more questions, anybody has anything they want to post in the comments, stuff you want to know about, stuff that you want me to explain better, by all means, please post it in there. I will answer any questions you have. I actually have a list of videos people have actually requested, so I'm going to be doing videos people actually want me to do. So I'll post a lot more for you guys. But just like I mentioned before, if you guys want to reach out to me, if there's anything I can do for you, you have any questions about, some people want to know about refinancing their loan, who's a good lender to work with. I have plenty of connection with lenders, plenty of connection with title companies to work with. There's all sorts of different places I can refer you to. If you need a good roofing company, a good plumber, I can refer you to all those people and help you out with anything you need. Especially if you want to buy or sell any real estate, I'm definitely going to be your guy. Again, reach out to me, call me, text message me, email me, send the carrier pigeon, whatever works for you. Reach out to me at any time. I'm there to help you any way I can. With that said, like I hope I helped you out here. I hope I educated you a little bit. I didn't do near as much as we could, but I could make this video last for 6 hours, which in all reality, none of you would actually watch it for 6 hours. So there's no point in making it last that long. But let me know if there's anything I can do with you. I'm glad I had the chance to go over this with you guys, give you a brief, quick overview of what the difference between Akron and Cleveland is. With that said, I'm out of here.